Okay, so this week we're going to be going over the how to connect the Mongo CRUD system that we've been developing over the last few weeks. This is pretty easy to do. The documentation that is provided to us is pretty great, and you just have to follow through with what they say, and it's pretty seamless. So let's just start off going to the documentation first. So first off and foremost, there's two different documents that you have to go to for this. You have this Swagger AutoGen, and then you have the Swagger UI Express. The Swagger UI Express basically is how all the information is routed through um, from point to point. We first start off with just basically installing Swagger UI by running that code. Then there's a few other things you have to do. My code actually already has these two elements in it already because we're using MongoDB and they require it. And so all I had to do is include these three lines of code. Because we're using router, we are going to include this into a new file in the router folder, so we can be able to route things correctly. Then onto the actual AutoGen that creates the JSON file. So you'll have the same idea. We're going to be installing the Swagger again, and then this is basically just swagger.js file that we're going to be using. The big thing that you want to make sure that you do is this local host here. It defaults actually to localhost 3000. It's really important when you're testing that if you want to switch it to a different local host, you just have to switch it to like, for example, I use 8080 or whatever one you want to use. You have to switch it. But when you go live on deploying it, you have to make sure you update this and then up your API or else it won't function correctly. So this makes sure that you update it. There are some other ways that you can have multiple hosts, but nothing that I was able to try or able to debug that was able to actually get it going. So let's just explore the code a little bit. So here we have the three lines of code, one here, and then one down here. And so those are the three elements of that I copied over. This basically directs you to the router index. You basically have to route. We have the contacts, which we've been using to make contacts, and then you have the new Swagger.js redirection for the routes. Like I said, those 5 things for the routes, they're pretty straightforward. Do that. You do have to make sure that you export those back to the original. So let's go back to the main folder. This is the main AutoGen feature. Like I was saying, this is the host that I have on renderer, render, can't say it right.com. The output file folder is going to be registered here. Basically, it's in the same folder. And then the endpoint is going to be the index, which is able to route it to everything else. So that's where you basically have to say, hey, where else are you going to make it go? The description, titles, and stuff that in this one will basically just throw it into the JSON file. You also can put in tags that Swagger will grab. So this one right here is just going to throw in some little tags here and there for different information. So it's pretty straightforward, not too drastic to go through. So let's just look at the actual code now. So here is the database. This is the GitHub, sorry, that I basically am uploading to. I worked off of another person. And then this is the dashboard for the deploy. I've actually had a lot of issues with this today. Render is really great, but today one of the two servers in the United States was having issues. So I just switched to the other server and it was pretty straightforward. So this is basically the hosted system that I can do. So let's just go down and try everything that we've done before. So we're going to see, so that you can see that the description comes down here. This gets all the context. So let's just try this out. If you execute, it should just Takes sometimes take a second or two. Come on, buddy. Are you still on? Try it out. Maybe that went down. Huh. So it just took a second. I just had to refresh the page. And there we go. So we have the three contacts that we had before. So say, let's just go on to the next thing. Let's create a post. So let's just go back to my code. And I don't know if you remember, we had these, this Joanne Jenkins and Michael Jackson. So let's just try this out. Let's just post this Joanne Jenkins. So if you go, it came back true and it has this new ID number. So let's just go down here and make sure she's actually in here. So let's do it actually 2 times. Actually, let's just leave it alone. So let's try out just grabbing just the ID. So we're just going to do the one single retrieve. If you go down, Joanne Jenkins is there. So let's see if we can update. So this is the U in the CRUD operation. And so let's just go, we're going to update that one, go back to my main code, and we're going to do the king. Well, some say the pop, whatever you say. We're going to do Maka. Jackson. Yeah, worst imitation ever. And there we go. We have, it's gone, it's good, it's put through. So let's just make sure it actually registers. So let's go back to, we have this one here, the execute to see who it is. Jackson's there. And then finally, the final CRUD is D, which is delete. So if we could click on this to delete this, let's try this out and go with this. So let's get his ID first. And actually, let's go first to just show you that it is in the whole list first. So they have Michael right there. And then let's go down. And then let's delete him from the system. And then it's, so it goes, we got good, it's operated, there's no errors. So if we try to run the other one again, you have no more, Michael's no longer in the list. And I think if we try to execute the search, it doesn't find him. So we're good. There's no, he's no longer on the list. And that is that. So yeah, and I mean, if we really want to try, we can have the old school way of checking. Okay, that's localhost, and it's really fast. And then we have this one, and it doesn't pull up anything. So if you have any questions, just let me know, put in the comments. And as always, have some fun coding.